Well, this just in. Lynx looking to seal the deal and punch their ticket to the WNBA Finals. Right here, Kayla McBride getting the and one to put the Lynx up 15 over the Sun. And they never looked back. That's going to do it. The Minnesota Lynx defeat the Connecticut Sun 88-77. That is your final. Next up is a meeting with the New York Liberty, punching their ticket to the WNBA Finals. It was an incredible night for Courtney Williams, who finished her day with 24 points, 5 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals on this one. Wasn't quite enough for Dejanay Carrington, who also had a big night with 17 points, 13 boards. But it's the Lynx who are going to link up with the Liberty come Thursday. And we now bring in CBS Sports WNBA analyst Erica Ayala, and the matchup is set. It took 5 games, but the Liberty will now be taking on the Lynx in the WNBA Finals, which tips off on Thursday. But before we even get into that matchup, we have to talk about the performance of the Lynx, getting off to a hot start in Game 5 against the Sun, continuing that hot start into the second half and never looked back. And much of the credit going to the performance of Courtney Williams, Erica.
Courtney Williams has been great for this Minnesota Lynx squad. I think a lot of people may look at Cheryl Reeve and see Willie, as she's known, Courtney Williams in their trajectory in the league, and maybe think this is a bad match, but somehow the intensity, the passion that both bring to basketball, and of course, above all, their love for winning has combined into a perfect storm for this Minnesota Lynx team. Courtney Williams also has been working on her shot. She is known as someone throughout her career that can shoot from the mid-range, but when she's able to push that back just a little bit more, get deeper shots from the perimeter, help stretch the defense on the opposition, we've seen that that's the MO for this Minnesota Lynx team. That's what's made them successful this season, the #2 team after the regular season ended. And Courtney Williams also showing some of that steel that she gained in some of those hard losses when she was playing for the one and only Connecticut Sun. But she was able to put the Sun to bed today along with the Lynx, and she will now go on to the WNBA Finals.
Yeah, but it didn't really feel like that same Sun team that I think we might be used to. That's a team with postseason experience, but marked by turnovers in Game 5. 19 turnovers for 22 points. What didn't work for Connecticut in this one?
Connecticut historically is a team that has relied on Alyssa Thomas. Alyssa Thomas plays with an edge. She plays with a defensive intensity and just a will that, when at its peak, is unbeaten. But just like every smooth ride, every once in a while, sometimes the engine doesn't quite do what you need the engine to do. And if there are other parts of the mechanism, in this case the Connecticut Sun, that aren't able to step up and account for some of that, I think overall we just really saw this Connecticut Sun team run out of gas and run out of road against a very tough Minnesota Lynx team that, especially in Game 2, gave them a dose of their own medicine, got into the body, very physical. And Connecticut is not a team that's known to stretch the defense on the opposition. They play in the paint, and they had difficulty doing that against this Minnesota squad with consistency throughout the series.
Yeah, ran out of gas, I think, is a great way to say it. But now it's the top 2 records in the W as the last 2 standing. The Lynx, though, were 3-1 in the regular season against the Liberty, including that 94-89 victory in the 2024 Commissioner's Cup. But now, Erica, how do these 2 stack up? Now that we're no longer looking at the regular season, we're no longer looking at the Commissioner's Cups, we're looking at the finals.
All right, now wait a minute. I gotta say, as a New Yorker, you making my palms sweat a little bit. Why you had to do all that? Why you had to do all that? We're not talking about the regular season. Jokes aside, this is a Minnesota team that has had the New York Liberty's number. And a part of that is because if you look how these teams are engineered, they are very similarly designed in that they like length and versatility on the roster. That makes matchups and switches nightmares for their opposition. And that is something that has been the bread and butter of the New York Liberty team. But we've seen, whether it's the Commissioner's Cup or, as you mentioned, the other games in the regular season, Minnesota has had an answer more often than not for this New York Liberty squad. Now, we, of course, at CBSSports.com, at the end of the regular season, did our predictions for who we would see in the finals. And I'm just going to put it out there. Go look and see who Erica had. I had Liberty and Lynx. Now, at the time we did that, I did say that I think the Lynx would take the series because, again, they've been the better team in the head-to-head, and the Minnesota Lynx were surging. The thing that I think gives New York the edge, one, their consistency, two, their depth, and three, they have Sabrina Ionescu, who is playing at a whole nother level. Add that and blend that to Breanna Stewart, who's been here before, knows what it takes to win a championship and wants to do that for her home state in New York. Those two playing, perhaps reaching their peak at the right time in the WNBA Finals, that's going to make New York tough. And let's not forget, they have home court advantage. And we already saw in the last series where they put Las Vegas away that they collect receipts. And so I don't know if there are any out there. All I do know is, again, the Minnesota Lynx have the better record, and I'm sure the New York Liberty know that, but they have made the message clear. They haven't done anything yet. Not only has this New York Liberty team, not done anything yet, they haven't won a championship together yet. They lost the Commissioner's Cup to the Minnesota Lynx, but the franchise, an original franchise of the WNBA that is still without a championship. So yeah, the New York Liberty ain't done nothing yet, but that doesn't mean they're not dangerous.
Oh, and you said they're keeping the receipts. Well, hold on. We've got the receipts. You said on CBSSports.com. You can go check it out yourself. Erica Ayala said that she did pick the Liberty and the Lynx to be in the WNBA Finals, and then now we got to document it now. We're keeping the receipts. Erica Ayala, are you confirming that you believe that the Liberty have what it takes to edge the Lynx in this series?
I do believe they have what it takes. And if they are going to bring a championship home, I do think it goes the distance. It goes 5 games. As I said, Sabrina Ionescu has to be the key. I've been calling for it for years. I was like, when the Liberty are ready, they're going to have to hand the keys over to Sabrina Ionescu. Now, again, when you do that, that's just how you run the offense in particular. We've seen her play on the ball. She played off the ball because of how the Aces defended her, especially in Game 3. But what is the glue? So you got the key, okay? And then you have the glue. The glue, without question, is Breanna Stewart. She is the heartbeat of that New York Liberty team, and that's what makes me think absolutely they have a chance. I'm not denying Minnesota. I even picked Minnesota, as I said, as we closed out the regular season. But, you know, things change. I changed it up from preseason, and I'm just saying we're going 5. If the New York Liberty are going to win a championship, they're going to have to do it in 5. They're going to have to run right through Minnesota, but they're going to need that home court advantage.
Absolutely, and that tips off on Thursday. You said these are two similarly designed teams, and we're going to get to see all of that action on the floor for that crown. Erica Ayala, you've been picking right so far, so we'll see how that goes as this series continues. We appreciate you stopping by. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
As for this series, well, this is now the 2nd straight appearance in the finals for the Liberty, looking to avenge themselves after falling to the Aces last year. Minnesota, meanwhile, looking for their 5th WNBA title. If they do get that, that will in fact be the most all-time. Liberty 0-5 in WNBA Finals series. Looking to turn that tide. Tip-off Thursday, 8 Eastern.